Two Chairs No Waiting, number 267, News of Cast and Crew, the eBullet, January 2014. Two Chairs No Waiting is brought to you once again by the great folks over at weaversdepartmentstore.com. They're the ones who bring us the eBullet. That's right, they're the Andy Griffith Show Rerun Watchers Club. So head over to weaversdepartmentstore.com, check out the Mayberry stuff, and support the Andy Griffith Show Rerun Watchers Club with your purchases. Two Chairs No Waiting is also brought to you by donations from listeners like you. Executive producer of number 267 is Jim Clark, the Presiding Goober of the Andy Griffith Show Rerun Watchers Club. Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Alan Newsom, for Two Chairs No Waiting. It's so good to have you here with us here in Mayberry. And last week, our episode was all about the very, very first issue of the Andy Griffith Show Rerun Watchers Club official newsletter called The Bullet. As I mentioned last week, the Bullet has turned into the eBullet. So it's no longer a paper version of the newsletter. It's actually an electronic copy of the newsletter. And you can get it for free. If you head over to imayberry.com, there's links right at the top that say newsletter. If you click it, you can choose to get the Who's Been Messing Up the Bulletin Board Digest, a daily email that's just made up of fans' comments and things like that. But you can also sign up for the eBullet. And I definitely want to encourage you to do that because the eBullet is amazing. Jim Clark works so hard to provide all of the Mayberry fans this, wonderful insight into the goings-on in and around Mayberry. So we want to thank him for that. One portion of the newsletter that you can get, sign up for free, doesn't cost you anything, is called News of Cast and Crew. And that is what we're going to be looking at today. So let's head over there right now and check that out. And then after that, we're going to hear a voicemail from Larry, who had a couple of questions, and we're going to try to address those. So let's head over first to see what's going on in the Bullet. Now, I want to get us a little background music here, playing real low, something real nice. Let's see here. How about this? Oh, that puts us in the Mayberry mood. All right, folks, news of cast and crew. That's right, here we are. Ron Howard continues to work on his film In the Heart of the Sea, a tragic story of the Essex, a whaling ship destroyed by a whale in 1820. He's completed principal filming in Great Britain and most recently the Canary Islands, where in early December the production company had to take shelter from a devastating storm of near typhoon strength. He's now busy editing and other post-production work. The film is currently set for release March 2015. Rush, Ron's most recent release as a director, was nominated for 2 Golden Globes, including Best Picture in the drama category. And it's nominated for 4 British Academy Film Awards, including Best British Film. The winners will be named on February the 16th. Rush oddly received the Big Freeze and was completely shut out of any Oscar nominations, even in the technical categories. But the Howard family will be well represented at the Oscars because Nebraska, featuring Howard's patriarch, Rance Howard, is up for a slew of awards, including Best Picture. Rance plays the brother of Bruce Dern, who is nominated for Best Actor. And to see them on screen together is remarkable how much they look as though they really could be brothers. Betty Lynn has recovered extraordinarily well from surgery last August and continues a full schedule of activities in Mount Airy, including autograph sessions the 3rd Friday of each month at the Andy Griffith Museum. Little comment by Alan: if you're in the area of Mount Airy, North Carolina, the 3rd Friday of each month, it's a great idea to head over there and meet Betty if you had never done it. Back to the Bullet. Maggie Peterson and Rodney Dillard had a great fun with their mini tour with Rodney's band and David Browning, the Mayberry deputy, in their Mayberry Christmas show at dates in North Carolina and Tennessee. Maggie and Ronnie Shell will be appearing at the Andy Griffith Museum February 12th and 13th and doing a performance of Love Letters for one night only, February the 14th in Mount Airy, North Carolina. So that's something, if you're in the area again, and you're hearing this now, not someday in the way future, you might want to head over there and check that out. Top Andy Griffith Show writer, Sam Bobrick, 19 episodes including The Shoplifter and Big Fish in Small Town, checked in to say that he's doing well and still writing. In fact, he won an Edgar Allan Poe Award, they're called an Edgar, in 2011 for his comedy mystery, The Psychic. His latest play, L.A. Deli, opens at Lee Strasberg Theater in West Hollywood in March 2014. And some news we missed last summer, but found out over the holidays. The late TAGS director, Earl Bellamy, one of Andy Griffith's favorites, was honored posthumously with a special award recognizing his many achievements as a director of classic westerns. He was notably one of the key directors of The Lone Ranger on TV. Last year marked the 80th anniversary of The Lone Ranger, so Earl's award was in part timed for that occasion. His widow Gail was at the festival to accept the award. Congratulations, that's awesome for Earl. I'm glad Gail was able to be there. Margaret Carey, if you don't know, played Bess Muggins and Helen Scobie on the Andy Griffith Show. She's been busy, as usual, with lots of Disney-related appearances. As the live model for Disney's animated Tinkerbell, Margaret is in demand all over the world for events that need an extra pixie dust. She's just back from Anaheim and the Disneyland Resort's Tinkerbell Half Marathon during the weekend of January the 18th. Keep up with Margaret if you can on her website, tinkerbelltalks.com. Joy Ellison, who played Margaret Carey's daughter in Margaret's 2 episodes, as well as Opie's friend Mary Wiggins and Iris and others, is currently working as a dialogue coach on SpongeBob SquarePants 2, starring Antonio Banderas, and it's scheduled for release in 2015. And she has been working on a Brad Pitt movie that likely will be released this year, 2014. That film isn't yet titled, but we have a feeling it could end up being called War Daddy. Folks, that is some of the cast and crew news out of the bullet. Now, there's all kinds of wonderful stuff in there, that I know you'll enjoy if you just head over there and check them out. So head over to imayberry.com. You'll find a link right on the front page where you can sign up to get the bullet, the eBullet. It's free. It get emailed to you. You can also just go over and read it because all of them are there, and the back issues go back to 2000. I forgot. I think I may have told y'all last week how long they go back. But there are back issues going back for a long time. And, folks, it is an amazing piece of work. You'll go in there. If you go check it out, you'll find the Floyd's Barbershop Bulletin Board, which is the event calendar. And it'll give you all the events. I'll give you just a couple so you'll know what's going on around Mayberry, because there's a lot of fun things. And one thing I'm going to be doing next week that's going to impact our podcast somewhat, because I may miss a week, is I'm going to be heading over to Mount Airy, North Carolina for Russell Hyatt's 90th birthday party. That's right. Legendary Mount Airy barber who runs Floyd City Barber Shop in Mount Airy, North Carolina. He's also known as America's Barber. He's going to be, they're going to be having a birthday party for him. The bullet suggests arriving by about 12:30 to enjoy the height of the festivities, because they're going to start at noon to 2. And it's a remarkable milestone for Russell. And if you can attend, and even if you can't, birthday greetings can be sent to the barbershop address. So make sure you send it to the barbershop there in Mount Airy. I guarantee if you send it to Floyd City Barbershop, Mount Airy, North Carolina, it's actually at 129 North Main Street. But if you just send it to Floyd City Barbershop, Mount Airy, North Carolina, I bet you he would get it. And you can wish Russell a happy birthday. 90th birthday, January the 28th. I'll be there. Ken Junkin and I are heading over there to do that. We're heading up. We'll be heading up there on Saturday this coming week. So if you're in Mount Airy over the weekend, or we'll be there on Monday or Tuesday, maybe we can meet up somewhere. So email me at floyd@imayberry.com and let me know. Now, another big thing that's coming up, now this is down in Alabama, is we're going to be doing on January the 26th, which is Friday of next week. So it's coming up real quick. We're going to be doing a show with Leroy Mac McNeese. Now, we've done some podcast episodes with him you can go back and listen to. He and his wife, Jen, perform bluegrass, gospel, and share their faiths at 2 services on the 26th. And they're going to be doing that on the 26th. And then on the 31st, I should say, Leroy Mac McNeese is joined by myself, Alan Floyd Newsom, and Kenneth Otis Junkin, and Charity Miss Mayberry Ferris for Mayberry, a night in Mayberry at 7 p.m. at the Zion Community Center. And I believe there's only about 200 seats in that place. So if you want to come, you're going to have to push out some of the locals and get there a little early. But if you want to know, it's in Gordo, Alabama, about 8 miles north of there, actually. I'm not sure whether you have to cross the Robert E. Lee Natural Bridge, but some helpful signs will be on the highway to try to show you how to get there. The show is free. But there will be some door prizes, so don't draw out number 44, because draw out 6 and 7/8 or whatever you're gonna do. But they're going to be taking up I'm not sure what you call that, donations, I guess, to try to raise money to help pay for the insurance and stuff of the Zion Community Center. And so we'll be doing that show. That ought to be a lot of fun. Kenneth Junkin's also going to have some Santa's helpers. Some elves are going to be around helping us out, I believe. So if you want more info, you can check out the eBullet and look in the event calendar, and you will see some more information there. A lot of great stuff coming up this year, folks. Karen Knotts is doing shows. Maggie Peterson, as I already said, and Ronnie Shell are going to be doing a show on the 14th in Mount Airy, North Carolina. Love letters, so you don't want to miss that. There's just so many things. I'm not even going to try to hit them all. We've already mentioned about Betty Lynn. James Best is doing some shows as well. All kinds of things hidden in there. Heading up to the May 2nd and 3rd, they're going to have the 4th annual Mayberry Comes to Westminster Festival in Westminster, South Carolina. This ought to be a lot of fun. The highlights are going to include Rodney Dillard, and Karen Knotts is doing her Tied Up in Knots show, and they're going to have a salute to Elvis with Wayne Eulis. So if you like Elvis, you like Andy, come on out. It ought to be a lot of fun. Then a huge show for folks up in the Midwest. It's coming back May 17th and 18th of 2014, Mayberry in the Midwest in Danville, Indiana. Stars are already confirmed. The ones that are confirmed are Maggie Peterson, Rodney Dillard and the Dillard Band, and a full slate of Mayberry tribute artists. So, and they're even going to have the Mayberry Squad Car Nationals up that way. So if you have a Mayberry Squad Car replica, contact Kenneth Junkin. The information is in the bullet, so we can get that set up. Folks, there is all kinds of things. That's just up through May. Head over to the eBullet, check out the event calendar, or just go to imayberry.com. You can click on the event calendar there as well. It has the same information. But make sure you do that, because there is stuff happening all over the place this year related to the Andy Griffith Show, and you don't want to miss it. I definitely guarantee that you would enjoy yourself. All right, folks, we've got a couple. Well, we have one voicemail with 2 questions, I should say. So let's head over and pick up this voicemail. This is from Larry, and he called in and had this question.
Hello, Alan. Larry Granger here. First of all, I've been meaning to mention this for some time. As a trained noticer, I noticed that some time ago that you began opening your show with the Mayberry Band playing Stars and Stripes Forever, but you're closing it with Freddie Fleet and his band with a beat playing Stars and Stripes Forever. Just noticed that. Also, on the episode called The Lodge, when Howard goes into the barber shop to talk to Floyd after they've blackballed him and everybody's uncomfortable about it, Take a notice and see what you think. It looks like Howard goes in the barber shop and says, "Hello, Floyd." And Floyd doesn't acknowledge him. And then Howard Sprague says, "Hello, Howard." And I just wondered if that was a slip-up, obviously speaking to Howard McNear. Take a look at that and see what you think. Also, I mentioned to you on the cruise about Opie throwing the rock into the water and throwing it to the right and it landing more to the left. I'd be interested in what you see in that too. Have a good one. Thank you for the podcast.
Wow, Larry, thank you for calling in. That's some great observations. You're right. The song I play at the beginning of the show is loud there, but here it is from the Mayberry Band, obviously, because it sounds so terrible. But then at the end, I do play the Mayberry Band with Freddie Fleet. As you can tell, it sounds much better. So good ear there. He did notice that, and that's I've been doing that for years, and nobody's ever mentioned it. But you may have noticed it, but nobody ever mentioned it. All right, next up we're talking about the lodge. All right, so in the lodge, the question is when Howard comes in. Now, this is a color episode. It's from season 7, so you guys can go check this out if you'd like to. But I did, and this is one of the things. Several of you folks have been calling in some really good questions related to the Andy Griffith Show, but they require a lot of detective work. So I don't have all of those answered yet, but I'm working on them. So keep the questions coming, and I'll answer them as I can. But let's go on over here and listen to what Larry was talking about. So here we go.
Morning, Floyd.
Now, if you listen here, he said, "Morning, Floyd." And now he's going to say it again. Listen, real close.
Floyd, how are you? Oh, Howard.
All right. So if you were listening there, what he actually said was, let's listen again. He says, let's just play it.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'm going to have to start it over. So let's try it again. Here we go. He said,
Floyd.
"Morning, Floyd," right there. So let's listen again. Listen close.
Floyd, how are you?
He
Oh,
Howard. Almost
Howard.
sounds like he says, "Morning, Howard," right there. But what he actually says, "Floyd, how are you?" That's what he's really saying. I listened to it several times. He goes, "Morning, Floyd," and then he comes over there, "Floyd, how are you?" So, "Floyd, how are you?" That's what he's saying. He just blurs it all together. And so, yes, it does sound a lot like exactly what Larry was saying. But he says, "Morning, Floyd." Then he walks on over. Let's listen real close.
Floyd, how are you?
"Floyd, how are you?" That's what he actually says right there. So that's the clip. So it took me a few times. So Larry, I understand completely. And he does say, Howard, how are you? How are you? He says it so blurred, it's kind of hard to understand. But good ear and good catch. I enjoyed trying to figure that out because I had listened to it a couple of times before I figured out he's saying, "Floyd, how are you? Floyd, how are you?" That's what he said. All right. The other question, which I thought was really cool, he did bring up to me on the cruise. He brought up the fact that in the early seasons of the Andy Griffith Show, you can see Andy and Opie walking down the path. And when Opie runs and picks up the second rock that he's going to throw and throws it into the water, he throws it to the right. And then you see it splash right out in the middle of the lake, right over there in front of him. So if you watch that, it definitely does exactly what he said. It throws over to the right and ends up right in the drink right there to the left. So he throws it to his right. Unless he's got a heck of a curveball, it hits in a different place than the water. Now, what I assume happened, Opie was a young little fella, and that rock lands pretty far out there, and it looks like a pretty big splash. And the rock Opie threw didn't look like it was big enough to make that splash. It's a big splash. So I'm assuming what he did was he threw it off to the right, and then there was somebody, stage person or something over there, that threw the ball and into the, not the ball, threw the rock into the water. The reason I was thinking that's because in basketball, I've seen things like that before where there's film in a basketball thing. The guy looked like he shot the ball from like way back, and he really throws it kind of off to the side. And then they got another guy closer that's actually shooting it, boom, into the bucket. So you see it. So that's what made me think that's probably what they did there. Great eye, though, Larry, and thank you for calling in and mentioning that. So, folks, if you got a DVD of the episodes, you can watch that. If you don't, you can watch this podcast episode on video, the video version. I showed it, so you'd actually be able to see this, and you can actually see early as he throws the ball. I keep trying to say the ball. As he throws it, you can see him throw it off to the right, and then the rock hits into the water right there. To the left. So good job again, Larry. I beat that one I think I beat that one up here. So folks, hey, I want to thank everybody who's been calling in. We got a lot of calls coming, and we've also got a email that I've gotten in. Let's see here. I was going to read this one to you. This one is from Joe Gritton. And he was writing in reference to episode number 264, which was the top episodes of 2013. And he wrote in and had this to say to me. He said, Alan, I was delighted and stunned to hear that your podcast episode on the tribute artist to the writers made the top 20 lists for this year, which is true. It did made the top list. You were so gracious in that episode of acknowledging my behind-the-scenes work and that of the real writers. That must have helped it become so popular. I was definitely surprised because the podcasts themselves, Mayberry After Midday, generated little, if any, feedback, even though you did a great job voicing, thank you, in some degree acting them out. What does he mean, some degree? What does that mean there, some degree? Anyway, as a writer, I felt like Barney when Rafe Hollers was chosen to sing at the chorale instead of him. I must have chosen something over their heads, is what he figured. I think the fact that he picked little-known characters, is what he's saying, to feature in that episode with Floyd and Bert must have made the script interesting only to the most dedicated and knowledgeable fans. That podcast, Tribute Artist to the Writers, making the favorites list, however, makes me feel like like the almost washed-up shoe salesman that set a company record. I am totally floored and energized. I guess when you've got it, you've got it. I wanted to let you know how pleasantly surprised I was. Keep up the good work, and thanks for all you do, Joe Gritton. So, Joe, thank you. Now, you guys may not remember, Joe wrote a few episodes for me about with Floyd and Bert. We've talked about those before. There's several episodes going back through the time of the podcast. There's several of those, and Joe did an absolutely amazing job doing that. We had number 92, Floyd and Bert Business Partners. And that was the first one. So if you went ahead and go and listen to that one, then they got better after that. Because hopefully I got better at acting them out a little bit. But they're a lot of fun, and Joe did a great job writing them. And I'm certain they're related to my acting ability, may have had something to do with it. But number 192 and number 191, those are Mayberry After Midday. Those are really good episodes. So go and check those out, and I think you'll enjoy them. And thanks again to Joe for taking the time to write those to me and for writing in. All right, folks, I'd love to hear from you. You can write in and let me know what you think about these podcasts. Love to hear from you. Floyd at imayberry.com. You can call me at 888-684-8415 because I would love to hear from you that way because folks would rather hear you than me talking. So give me a call. As I said, 888-684-8415. Drop by our pages and leave messages there at twochairsnowaiting.com or at facebook.com/2chairs. Any of those ways, folks. Love to hear from you. Have a great week in Mayberry, and hopefully I'll see you next week. If not, it'll be 1 week off, but it'll be a good one when I come back. So we'll see you guys then. Good night, everybody.